The Charlie League has 11 rounds complete. The Delta League is still on hold until 2021. Maybe. And the Redraft League now has 34 members. All this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast sponsored by Football Darts and Fantasy Sports Alliance. Who's all out there with us tonight? Jenna says hi, Brian. Chris Simpson says thumbs down. Damian says let's go. Chris, why the thumbs down, man? Did we keep you awake for nothing? Let us know what's going on with you out there. MJ says 2020, and hey, did I get the camera right now? So we had a special request from David Hinkle. He wanted to know why over the last couple of weeks we hadn't been showing off the Miami Dolphins banner that's behind me. And the reason being is the way I've got these set up is AFC is at the top and NFC is at the bottom. So every week you all get to see the NFC. So I decided to have the camera at a funny angle tonight to be able to get the Miami Dolphins in there. And then I was really thinking, like, what am I going to wear tonight for the show? And I was like, David asked to see the Miami Dolphins banner, so I thought, why not throw the Miami Dolphins hat on tonight? So I hope you all are out there. Damian Gratt says, what's up? Jonathan Broughton on with us. Ross Norris on with us. Howdy. Ross, please stay on with me for a little bit longer, man, because towards the end of the show, I got a little plug. Yeah, I have a little plug for you a little bit later on. I just had to think about that for a second. So my camera's off a little bit tonight. I took the camera off the monitor tonight to take it with me to work because we got some stuff going on at work that we need the camera and the microphone for. So I took it with me to work tonight. So things are a little bit of setup, a little crazy setup. Hey, so something you haven't seen in a while on the show is the stuff you're seeing right now. We haven't had this up for a while, right? Reason being is we've just been doing the talking head as of lately, and I wanted to make sure that we got the social media stuff across the bottom there. So in case you haven't been following us on the World Wide Web, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or on our YouTube channel, you knew how to find us on all of them. But more importantly, the reason I brought it up is for this right here. Football Darts. Football Darts, we'd like to thank our broadcast sponsor. Football Darts is a dart game that combines the skill of traditional darts with the strategies of American football. This innovative dart game is played on a uniquely designed multiple target dartboard. Unlike traditional British darts, American Football Darts is a game that combines both the skill of darts and the strategies of football. It can be played in sports bars, at tailgate events, as league tournaments, or as a leisure activity in the comfort of your home. If you would like to check out their officially licensed collegiate dartboards, please go to footballdarts.com. Ross again says howdy. Chris is back on again. Randy says evening. Randy, how are you? Tusker says they're ready to roll from the Charlie League. We're going to talk about the Charlie League here in a little bit. Damian says he loves the shift. Damian, since you've been part of the league, I don't think you've actually seen us do this because I've been trying to do just the talking head thing for the last couple of weeks because of all of the issues we've been having with the audio and the video timing. So everybody, please let me know how that looks tonight, please. The shirt, I'll bring it back up in a second. I'll show you all the shirt too as well. Brian says that it's freezing. I knew David would like the hat for sure. So, Dave, I got it on for you, just you, man. Gunslinger's in the house. Mondo and the Recast in the house. How are you all? Hopefully the boys are there tonight to watch it. Hey, before we get too much further, though, you know what's coming up next. The Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. They say an empty wagon makes a lot of noise. Listen to our partners Josh, Eric, and Brad talk fantasy football on their podcast. They are your one-stop shop for fantasy football information and news. The guys talk rankings and projections with a whole lot of comedy. This week, I had the honor of making a guest appearance on their show. How did all this happen? So last week, right after we got done with the broadcast, I think I wrote the guys and I said, hey, we need to get together on Saturday and just talk. I had no real agenda when I got them on. In fact, when Brad got on with us, he was like, "Hey Brian, what do you want to talk about?" And I was like, "Dudes, I really don't have any real agenda to talk about. I just wanted the four of us to get in a room, even if it was virtual, and just BS and see where the conversation took us." And what I didn't know was from the time that we got on, Brad was already recording me or us as a get together, and he was able to use some of those snippets on the show. And we ended up talking for 2.5 hours. And partway through me already being recorded, they're like, "Hey, we got a special surprise for you. We're going to do our broadcast or our podcast for this week, and you're going to be on it." And I was super shocked. And the first thing I had to think about was, holy crap, I've been cussing a whole lot. And when I thought it was just the four of us talking, I definitely have to tone down the swear words. But I will say it was absolutely awesome to be a part of the process. These guys work their butts off every single week to put together such a great product. And being part of the recording process, especially over a 2.5 hour span, and then hearing what the outcome was of that for like, I think 60 or 61 minutes for the week, it was super, super awesome. If you have not listened to them yet, you need to go out and listen to the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football podcast. We have their @ symbol there for all of the social media. Go out to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. They're on all of those, and they just recently started their website, which is emptywagonff.com. You need to go out and check that out as well. And thank you guys for having me on. If you ever decide that you're going to have me on again, I promise I won't talk as much, and I'll stay more on topic the next time. And thank you for that. Let's see. Great Empty Wagon show this week with your input. Jonathan, I appreciate that. I feel like I talked a little bit too much, didn't stay on topic, but I do appreciate the guys for letting me be on there. It really was an awesome process. And then Brad with his editing was so amazing. Like, when I got to hear it after the fact and know what was said over that 2.5 hour period, what he put together was super awesome. So Brad, props to you, man. Super, super great. Didn't realize you were a big Martin fan. My best friend actually met the great. So I not only do I think Martin is great, let me tell you a little secret about FSA. So for a couple of years, I've been looking for a current or formal NFL player to come on board and be a spokesperson for FSA. And I actually reached out to Curtis Martin to see if he would do it. And I love the dude and still will always love the dude. He's just way outside the price range for FSA to be able to do that. But still a great, great dude. Yeah, I've always been passionate about the running back position, be able to watch him during preseason when he was a rookie, to watch him playing for the Patriots and pick up on that and be able to draft him in his rookie year, and then that would be the only year that I had him. And playing with a close-knit group of people, they knew I was a big Curtis Martin fan, so somebody always tried to snake him from me before I get a chance to have him. So in all of his 10, 11-year career, I only got him that first year, his rookie year, but it was a good year. Unfortunately, I still didn't win the championship that year and still haven't won a championship. For those of you that don't know, and I don't know if I put it out on the podcast with Empty Wagon or not, but I think I did mention it. I don't know if it made it in Brad's cut or not, that I have never won my own champion. I've never won my own league. Like this is our 27th year of operation, right? And 26 years of operating. Even when we only had 8 teams per league, I've never won this FSA league. Isn't that crazy? Damian Scott says, if you're not listening to Empty Wagon, you're doing fantasy wrong. Matt Furby says that it was a great show. I had good contribution. Appreciate it, Matt. Thank you. I feel like I still talked way too much, so thank you for saying that. Athena says she was worried that I wasn't going live every Wednesday. From now until February, we will be live. Unless something crazy happens in life, we will be here every Wednesday at 8:30 East Coast time. MJ says, don't forget to like and share the broadcast tonight. MJ, thank you. That was actually the next thing that was on my script. So you took that for me. So now what we can get into is a crazy, not a good percentage. Dave, you have 27 years and never winning it? Man, it's definitely not a good percentage. A good percentage might even be like 10%, 1%. But 0%? Man, that's not good. Not good at all. Let me get back over to this scene right here. Ross Norris says, I've never played an NCFF. All I do. Okay, so Ross, in case you all don't know, Ross Norris plays in this amazing league called the NCFF. And Ross, great segue for me right now, brother. Because we're getting ready to talk about the NFL schedule, and me playing around in the NCFF league this week actually is what's leading us into this segment right now. Chris says, please don't leave me holding on until the end. I know what he's here for. Chris, not that much longer, I promise. We'll get to it. So Ross runs this amazing NCFF league. It stands for National Collegiate Fantasy Football. Ross, if you're out there while I'm still rambling with diarrhea of the mouth, if you want, please go ahead and tell everybody about your league. I know you're trying to separate members that are playing in both NCFF and FCS, and I think that's for 2021. So if you would like to plug both of those leagues right now, go ahead and talk about it, all right? Brian says hey, it will jump to 3.57 if you win this year. Does that include the Dynasty? Because I think I have a pretty good chance of at least making the playoffs in the Dynasty. Who does have the best percentage in winning the FSA? All right, so let's talk about, and this is a question coming from Matt Furby, and I will try to go back off of memory as best I can in all of our leagues. So let's talk about the shortest amount of win-loss percentage for somebody. I think that probably goes to the Detroit Muscle and Ty Rowland. Ty played with us for about 3 years. And if it's not him, it's Hip Hop Anonymous. They probably have the next best one. I think that guy only lost like 1 or 2 games in 2 years. And he even played with us for like 2 or 3 years. When you back off of those and you look at longevity for somebody who played with us for a really, really long time, it's got to be the Cincinnati Smash Mouths, who hasn't played with us for a really long time. And I would love to have him back. Or Jessica Walker, who was our very first Hall of Fame nomination, or our nominee, or the very first person and the only person to go into the Hall of Fame in 2018. I would say it's probably got to be one of those 4 teams that are probably best overall. But what's really good, and I'm glad you asked that question, is once we get all of those old past seasons inputted into MFL, we will be able to link all of those teams through all of the years, regardless if they have changed brands or team names or whatever. And we will be able to run a report one day that says this is the best team in FSA. So hopefully soon enough we will be able to do that. We just have to find some off-season time to be able to do that. And in reality, us introducing Dynasty is not giving that to us, but I am also not complaining. So all the way back to the NCFF and where that was leading us down the road. So right now, what Ross does in the NCFF league is he allows his members to schedule the first 4 games of their season against other teams across the spectrum, the playing field of what he has out there. And this is the first year that I've took that really, really serious. Randy and I have played against each other for the last couple years in week 4 of the NCFF. And I actually had a guy from North Carolina State reach out to me this week and ask me if I wanted to play in week 1. It's the first time I've had anybody actually reach out to me. So I started digging around to see who else was out there on the league that I already knew that I could schedule games against, and I started scheduling them. The scheduling process got me thinking, the NFL schedule got released a week or 2 ago, and we put it out on the show that it got released, but I never really looked at it, and I thought, okay, from a competition standpoint, what is that going to look like for us? So I look at it. Bye weeks start in week 5 this year, and I can't remember where they were at last year, but I want to say they were in week 4, but somebody correct me if they were in week 5. However, what I do know for this year is there are no bye weeks in the NFL in week 12. However, there are 2 teams off in week 13. The unfortunate part for us is that is usually the week that we would be playing our regional championship. So in my brain, prior to me finding this out, the schedule was going to look like this for the FSA. You were going to play everybody inside your region one time for a total of 11 games. What we really wanted to be able to do was spread that schedule out and get everybody to play 12 regular season games. And then we would start our playoffs for the regional championship in week 13. So week 1 of the season, unlike last year when we did the doubleheader, we were going to have you play outside your region for the first time ever in FSA, especially since we've been since we've come on board with the MFL and we have been able to do that. So what we were going to do is we were going to take the 2 teams that played in the FSA World Championship last year and have them play against each other in week 1 of the 2020 season. And that would allow us to figure out the first 2 regions that were going to play against each other. And then we would figure out the other 6 and how they were going to piece together for that. However, me finding out that the NFL was having no bye weeks in week 12, but 2 teams off in week 13, that got me rethinking some things. So what I want to do is I want to present a thing or a proposal to you all. Most of you saw this already on GroupMe. For those that did not, put your listening ears on. But before I bring that to you, let me see what else is being said on here. Jonathan says you can take over my FCS team in Ross's league next year. So Ross is doing something in NFC or NCFF that I think we presented last week, and Randy and I were talking about this online, where Ross is trying to separate people from having teams in both the FCS and NCFF, which is super smart. That brings more people into the pool of players for him. And that's what Randy's mentioning right now, is having Jonathan take over that team in the FCS. Yeah, and Damien, I believe you are correct. I do believe that the bye week started in week 4 last week. That really sticks with me. So the thought process is now, and stick with me and tell me what you think about this. And I am open for all suggestions, right? You can leave them here on Facebook or on GroupMe, whatever you want. We don't do the cross-regional play in week 1. Everybody plays everybody inside their region one time for 11 weeks. We have the regional championship in week 12, and then everybody in the entire alliance has week 13 off. Then we pick up the playoffs, the big playoffs for the regional champions, moving on to the 18 playoffs in weeks 14, 15, and 16, which is what we need to satisfy, right? Chris is pushing me and pressuring me about Delta. It's coming soon, I promise, brother. The reason I'm thinking about doing this, and I'm saying I want to do this, I'm thinking about doing this with your input, is a couple of years ago, we decided that we were going to take 4 teams to the regional championship. And what we did was something called Pick Your Poison. And actually, I think it was suggested by Ross, actually, if he's still in here or not. And what that meant was it wasn't a natural 1 versus 4 and 2 versus 3. The number 1 seeded team got to pick what team that they wanted to play against. And in one of our regions, I think it was just one of our regions, because I think we had 6 that year. One of our regions, the number 1 seeded team decided to play against the number 2 seeded team, and here's why. That week, when we had 2 teams off, it was Kansas City and LA Rams, when they both teams had stacked players that were great for fantasy points. They saw that number 2 seeded team had a lot of Kansas City players and a lot of LA Rams players, and they decided to play against them, gave them an easy win on their way to a regional championship. And at that moment, I said that we will never do something like that again. We will never put a team that is fighting for a regional championship, especially when you win that game, you are already guaranteed money. We would never put another team in that situation. So right now, that is why I'm suggesting we play everybody inside your region once for 11 games. You play the regional championship in game 12 when there are no teams off. Everybody is in that. And then the entire alliance takes week 13 off before we get into the big tournament for all of the regional champions. So sit and think on that for a while. The fortunate part is we have time to react to that. We don't have to worry about that in the dynasty leagues because their playoffs are in weeks 15 and 16, but we really need to consider it for the redrafts. So I want to put that out there as the NFL schedule and let you all know that I found that today. Let me know what you think about that. Please give me any suggestions that you have. And Chris says, can that be my suggestion? Week 13 Battle Royale. Okay, so Matt Furby, I'm glad you brought that up. So here's what I'm thinking about for week 13. There are no scheduled games against each other. everybody still starts a lineup, and you will get points for that game regardless. Because remember, we give money out for the top scoring team at the end of the year all the way through week 17. That means even if you're if you're out of the playoffs, you still want to start a starting lineup to try to be able to earn that cash at the end of the year for top scoring team through all 17 weeks. Damien says, I think avoiding bye weeks can become a messy situation because everyone has to deal with filling the void with every other player's bye week except for those two teams. Now, I see your point, Damien. Very good. Week 13, give bowl games to non-playoff teams in week 13. So we're already doing bowl games, and we're thinking about starting the bowl games in week 12. An idea of doing it in 13 is not bad because when I talked to MJ earlier this week, we talked about doing all of the teams that were barely above 500 and the ones that are in between that barely above 500 and the rivalry bowl games that are normally played in week 15, putting them all in week 14 this year. So Ross, not a bad idea either. The buys finished, so I may be wrong. So Chris says, surely that means buys for teams during the other weeks. So we'll just be unfair. Okay, so I get what you all are saying. And you all have a very good point. Everybody's dealt with buys all the way up until this point. I just did not want to do that for a playoff team. The two teams that are off in week 13, Tampa Bay and Carolina. So you have to think we're losing Tom Brady, Gronk, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, CMC, DJ Moore, kickers and defenses from those two teams possibly. So we're losing up to 10 positions. So I just wanted to make sure we kept it fair for everybody. The good thing is we got a little bit of time to react to this and before we even put the schedule out because we're just, great segue into the next part as well. Chris says Brady's a bum. Great segue into the next part, which is our membership count. So we are just two teams over our one-third filled for the membership count. So we are at 32 right now. So great segue for that one. The Dynasty Alpha, as all of you already know, we are already filled there. I added the fifth and final round of the analysis for the Alpha League up on the website yesterday. We will be adding Bravo's analysis very, very soon. If you didn't already know, it is Memorial Day weekend here in the States. So I get a 4-day weekend being part of the military. So you better believe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I will be plopped right here behind this computer doing a lot of work for the Bravo. And by then, we might even have Charlie done because CHOO Charlie, they are chugging along. They are already in the 12th round just as we went live tonight, just before we went live tonight. So let me go back over to this big screen here and show you what their board looked like at 7:58 p.m. East Coast time. And I hope that you all can see that out there. They are moving along at a great pace compared to what Alpha and Bravo was, or in comparison to Alpha and Bravo. So I'm going to let you sit there and look at that for a little bit as I look at some of the other messages that have come up on Facebook. MJ says, I think your idea is a solid plan because it's going to be playoffs, not regular season. We're just 0 teams fulfilling Delta 2020. If the NFL season gets delayed, there may be no buys. All week 2 matchups are against someone who shares a bye week. That's very interesting. I wonder if that was plotted whenever they decided to come up with the schedule this year. Ross, that's super awesome. I'm glad you put that out there. All week 2 matchups are against someone who shares a bye week. Interesting. I wonder if they came up with this prior to all of, man, that's really interesting. Very smart on their part, especially if you got to watch the 2019 draft or how the schedule came out. And I watched it on the NFL channel on my app that's on my TVs, and how they came up with it. That's really interesting. That's pretty great. Great take in Alpha Draft article. Appreciate it, Damien. You wrote most of it, so definitely most of it. A lot of it was good. Charlie's on fire. Definitely. Matt Furby. Thank you, Brian. Matt, what are you saying? Thank you to? But you're welcome. So I think everybody's got a good chance to look at the Charlie so you can see what it's at. Yeah, they set those bye weeks to build in a possible delay. Super smart. I got to see the two people that come up with the schedules every week when I did watch that 2019 draft thing. Super smart minds there. They tell you about all of the possible outcomes that can come out of that scheduling process and what they finally decide. The funny thing that comes out of the scheduling process is the Miami Dolphins wearing it tonight, and the New York Jets, my team, playing each other back-to-back weeks with a bye week in between each other. So kind of a schedule anomaly, but also very cool at the same time. So Charlie is in the 12th round. So let's talk about two things. Chris, we're almost there, I promise. So two things that got brought up to me this week that have something to do with the Dynasty Leagues. The first one we're going to talk about is multiple members from Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie have come to me and said, we would like to open up free agency now instead of waiting until after week 1 of the season to be able to do that. And the question I propose to all of you that are out there that might be in Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, how do you feel about that? Would you like me to open up free agency for you all right now? The reason I originally said we weren't going to do that was because you just got done drafting. What free agents could you possibly want to go out and get? You got the team that you got. And then I see Alpha and Bravo already trading players. Charlie's in the midst of a draft. So, yeah, maybe some of you want to do some free agent work. Maybe you want to mess around with your teams a little bit. Chris says right now, let's open it up. So my thought to you is, let's let Charlie get done with their draft. If they hold any kind of semblance to what we did in Alpha Bravo, they should be done Monday or Tuesday at the latest, right? And then we open up all 3 leagues to free agency. But before I do that, other than just Chris saying open it up, how does everybody else feel about that? I think Cody has been a big pusher of that over on GroupMe, not in a bad way, that he would like to see that happen. So if Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie would like to open up free agent moves, let me know. Now, going along with that, the other question is, do we start using Fab right now with all of that? Or is it going to be first come, first serve? That is a big deal right now. Can there be a weekly waiver set up or okay? So that's a good question, Damien. I will have to look into that. So we got it doesn't hinder anyone, Chris says. So it only helps with activity, which is true. We definitely want to keep the activity open, which is what's leading us into the next segment here in just a second, Chris, which you're going to love. Matt Furby says, let's open up free agency. Can there be a weekly waiver set up? So we are using the Fab right now. It's going to be Fab, and then it's first come, first serve after the Fab. So what I have to do basically is to figure out how to put that on a schedule to make it happen. There are 2 people out there, 3 people that I would reach out to ask that question. I think Ross probably has some knowledge about that. Bob Reddick probably has some knowledge behind that, and Brian Lewis probably has knowledge behind that. Those are the 3 brains that whenever it comes to MFL type things that I ask a lot because they've been playing around on this platform for a really long time. So let me dig a little bit more. The good thing is we have about another week before we even think about opening that up, because that's when the Charlie League would be done. It would give me a moment to be able to figure it out over the 4-day weekend, and then we could announce it on next week's show that it's open. So let's talk about it. Even MJ says let's open it up. Brian says the league calendar showed no waivers until the season started, so that would essentially be a change. Yes, it would be a change because we weren't doing this, but it's been a request from a couple of people. Brian, how do you feel about it? So let me know. Bob, I don't think you're out there right now. And Ross, if you're still out there, let me know. So here comes the next part. Chris says, this better not freeze as I get to hear this say the words. There are no words quite yet, Chris, but here's what we're thinking. I got a very nice offline message or a private message, a direct message from one of our members on GroupMe tonight, saying that a couple of people that we mentioned inside the GroupMe chat are thinking about trying to start a quote-unquote what would be a Delta League based off of a conversation that we had the other day. I really feel like we probably could start a Delta League. And I'm thinking about reverse engineering this. Let me know what you think about this. What if I said yes to a Delta and we opened it up to the 36 members that are in Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie right now? And if we had any holes still remaining, we would fill the holes with new members from the outside versus trying to do what we did with Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, which was fill those 3 leagues with outside members. If I said that I was willing to do that, what would you all say to that? And then there's a follow-up question to that. How many of you are okay rolling your current Dynasty defunct league over into Delta? And how many of you would want to have another defunct team as your brand inside of Delta? Randy says he's in. Damien says he's in. Brian says he's in. MJ says she's in. You know I'm in. Simpson's in. That's 5 right there. My goal would be to get us to 7 at a minimum and then open it up to the general public to fill in the last ones. I'm thinking by David saying Tuskers that he's in. Now, of the 7 of us right now, between Brian, Damian, Randy, MJ, myself, and Chris, how many of you, and Jonathan says he's in, how many of you would want to have a different brand going over to Delta? Are you okay with living with the same brand? I'll tell you honestly, I had a hard time deciding between 2 teams before I decided on the rage for myself that I would actually want to change my brand to a different one. So Damien says that he would want to keep. Furby says he's in. That's 8. Matt, I'm sorry. I keep referring to you all as last names sometimes, just a military habit. That looks like that's 8. I think we could easily probably bring in a couple more people out of Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. So if I told my buddy Christian to go ahead and open up the payment option on the Join Today image for this weekend, for the 3-day or the 4-day for some of us, would you all go in and be willing to do the $100 thing again? I guess with the next question. So Randy says he would like to do a new one. I would like to do a new one as well, Randy. I really had a toss-up between 2 teams. In fact, I've never got a chance to tell you how I ended up on the Rage, especially after the email that you sent me a couple of weeks ago, which had my heart racing as I was reading it. He said I wouldn't open until we have confirmed people because you said you can get 13. It makes an issue. So Damien said he was paid. So my issue is, and one of the other members brought it up tonight, he said, the other day we had a list of 12, which was no problem. Like at least 3 of those people were people that reached out to me on Twitter when I said that we weren't going to do a Delta for 2020. We were already closed out on all of our members for Charlie. I don't know how many of them would be willing to come back around and want to do a Delta with us if we needed to fill holes. Jonathan says you can have my $100 right now. Ted did say he was in the other day. Cody said he would be in as well. So that would probably put us at 10. And then I had 3 off of Twitter, I think. David says he's in, but he would like to change his brand. Remember, if we do this, it's still a defunct dynasty. So we need to bring in defunct teams, which might be a little bit of a challenge right now because I found out that, and I'm not trying to say this and put my business out there too much, we might be infringing on at least one trademark in our dynasty teams right now, one that's in the Charlie League. I'm a little nervous about that. Okay, Evil Empire says they're in, not sure if he chimed in or not. Okay, so then we get Kevin in as well. So really then I think if my count is right, that would have us fill in 1 spot, and I'm pretty sure that somebody else from Alpha Bravo Charlie would fill that spot in. So how about this? We'll say Delta 2020 is a go. All right? We will open up the membership portion of it on Saturday morning. I will send a message out to the group on GroupMe, and really that's it. I don't know. I mean, the people that we really want to talk to are always on GroupMe. Yeah, Chris, you heard the words. Chris says he's going to bed now. He was just waiting on those. I'll let you all know, Delta 2020. I'll have Christian, my buddy who runs that for me. I will open it up on Saturday. Brian wants to do the draft on Sunday. Give it 1 week, all right? Let's let Charlie finish, all right? Charlie won't finish until after Saturday, I'm sure of that. So let's let Charlie finish. We'll figure out among us that are in the Delta League what we would like to do for a draft selection. If we do something slightly different than what we've been doing, I'm cool with that as well, especially if it's a lot of repeat players. Maybe we'll do something different. Let's play around with the idea of it. And then we will start on Monday. Let me look at the calendar right now. So if we open it up on Saturday the 23rd, we could start our draft on the 25th, which could be the same day or the day before the Charlie draft ends. Let's put the announcement on Saturday. I don't know how we do first come, first serve, because my fear is that we're going to get 13, 14 people that are going to want to sign up, and then I'm going to have to actually refund a couple of people. Damian Scott says snake eyes. Let's not have any snake eyes this time, especially not when we have like 10, 12 teams up on the board. God, I can't believe I'm doing this to myself. I hate you all. Really, I love you all, but I still hate you all. Delta 2020, we'll figure it out. We've got a couple of days to get there. Let's talk about it over on GroupMe. Let's get through this show. Holy crap, we've been on for 37 minutes, all right? 38 minutes coming up on. So let's see what I have forgot to talk about. Hey, we're talking about Dynasty so daggone much right now, all right? Don't forget, yes, I know that's Memorial Day. Maybe we'll start it on Tuesday, MJ. Very good point. Maybe we'll start on Tuesday. Even probably better for a lot of people, because then we can get Charlie finished up. Confirm names and can shoot out payments once we sort out names, just my opinion. So, jeez. And I hate to say, hey, send me a message on a certain version of social media, because not everybody uses the same app to be able to reach me. People use direct message, GroupMe, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. People reach me in all kinds of different ways, so I don't want to do first come, first serve. We'll figure it out. Today's Wednesday, right? We've got till Saturday to figure out. We've got plenty of great minds in GroupMe. Let's talk about it over GroupMe and see what happens, okay? I am willing, if we get 12 without me, I'm willing to go ahead and drop out of Delta as well to let you all play. Even though I would love to have a seat in Delta. So let's talk about that over the next couple of days, all right? So Delta 2020, but don't ask me for Echo 2020, all right? It's not going to happen. Delta is it. I can't take the heartache, the anxiety, the heartburn, the sleepless nights. Y'all be killing me, all right? Let's do draft selection the 30th, and then selection starting on June 1st. I'll look at the calendar. I don't even know what those days are anymore. Army stuff is mixed in there as well. It's got my brain all scattered. So we're talking about Dynasty so daggone much right now. Don't forget that we still have a redraft league that has 34 of the 96 members that we would like to get in this year. If you have not already signed up for the redraft, especially if you're playing in Dynasty and you want to see what the redraft is all about, please go over and sign up for that as well. I promise you will not be disappointed in that. We got bowl games. The payout is even bigger. You have regional championships. You have guys coming from and girls coming from all over the globe to play against each other. You get your own brand and don't have to worry about a defunct team that we've been building for you and stuff like that. So if you're not already part of that, please go over and sign up for that. Use the same blue link that you used to sign up for Dynasty. Go to the join today. It's only $50 for you to go sign up over there. Go ahead and do that. Not only do you get the $800 for winning the World Championship, but you're going to get a set of custom cornhole boards and bags from Nature Coast Tailgating. Please go over and sign up for that. Read GroupMe direct message. Oh, Chris, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. I'll have to look into that a little bit more, but I saw your last message. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, Jonathan, thank you. Redraft is great. MJ knows how great the redraft is. She ended up being the regional champion down here in the South Atlantic last year, being a rookie. Awesome. Jonathan says that's what drugs are for. Ross Norris is saying all the way out to Foxtrot. Ross, please don't do that to me. Hey, I'll tell you what. I will go all the way through Echo and Foxtrot if you can get the NCFF and FCX guys to come over and do our brand, because you know I'm stuck with you for a while because I just love how the NCFF is ran. And I'm going to plug you again right now. If you want to see a great fantasy football league, and I'm pretty sure Ross is filled for 2020, but it doesn't matter. Watch it for 2021 and see if you can get any holes filled. He runs in an amazing league. Like today while I'm at work in my little bit of a lunch break that I got today, I'm on NCFF's website on MFL because the stuff is so good. I'm digging through all of the stats, the scheduling for 2020, the almanac, and everything like that. You got to go out and check this out. Monster drinks, I don't want any more monsters, at least not tonight. I'm already tweaking as it is. Jesus Christ, it's 9:12 at night, and we've been on this show for 42 minutes, and I still have bullets to talk about. Redraft, 96 teams this year. Do it. I'm going to repeat what I did last week. If you're on any of the FSA MFL pages, and you need to get to any of the other FSA pages on MFL, don't forget to go on the top horizontal menu bar and look for links. Mouse over that, the menu drops down. Look for league links. When that drops down, you're going to see all of them. You're going to see FSA Redraft League for 2020. You're going to see Alpha Bravo Charlie, and soon enough, you're going to see Delta as well. You can get to any of the sites that way. Bounce back and forth between them, especially if you want to see what's going on in the drafts and what's going on and everything else. Go over there. That's there. And I want to say thanks to Chris. He's probably already gone for the night because he did say he was going to go to bed. So I'm hoping he will go back and watch this, even though he doesn't care after I said Delta 2020. He probably is fast asleep right now. But Chris, I wanted to thank you because you listened to the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football podcast the other night, and something I said on that prompted you to go out and look at the scoring system for 2020. One of the things that I have always wanted to make sure what happened was that all of our rushing and receiving first downs counted as a half a point for 2020. And I meant for that for quarterbacks as well. But apparently I did not have the scoring system set up correctly for the quarterbacks to get credit for a rushing half point per first down. Chris says, hey, that's not in the rules. Go take a look at that. And he was right. It wasn't in the league, in the rules. It wasn't in Alpha Bravo or Charlie. And it wasn't in the rules that I rolled over for 2020 either on the redraft. So I went out and fixed all of those. And in the meantime, I found out that our 2-point conversion points were incorrect for receiving. It was correct for passing and rushing, 2 points for 2-point conversion, but as it wasn't correct for receiving, it was only set up for 1 point. So Chris, thank you for catching that while you were listening to the show the other night. We went out and fixed it. Lucky to have you, man. Let's wrap this thing up for the night, all right? It's Wednesday night. Tomorrow is my Friday. I need to get some sleep. Got to do some Army stuff tomorrow. Very, very busy. Don't forget we have a YouTube channel. And when I say YouTube, I want to go down here and do this. So you know what the logo looks like? So you know that sticks in your brain. YouTube, right? YouTube. So we have a YouTube channel. We're trying to get up to 100 members so we can try to do our lives over on that. And also so we can have a custom YouTube channel name. Before I came live on the broadcast tonight, we had 47 people that are on that. So you know that we're going to continue doing lives here on Facebook. But after August 1st, after we do all of the redraft draft selection shows, the shows, if you want to watch a repeat after that week, will only be on YouTube. We'll do lives here. If you don't catch it at 8:30 on Wednesday, you got to go over to YouTube and see it, all right? So make sure you go over and follow us. Hell, we've had so many people on tonight, we probably could reach all the way to 100 tonight. So go over to our YouTube channel. Go over to YouTube, type in Fantasy Sports Alliance. Look for the one that's got all of the members on it because the other one is old. And subscribe, please. And let's try to reach to that 100 as quickly as we can. And also, because you see all of our other social media links that are across the bottom, if you're not already following us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, shame on you. Go out and follow us on all of those. A couple of goals that I had for myself this year was to make sure that we reached 200 on Twitter, because we haven't really used that a lot in the last couple of years. I've had a really hard time trying to figure out where Twitter fits into FSA, but it's definitely coming along a whole lot more. And I wanted to make sure we reached 500 members on Instagram and 500 members on Facebook. The last time I checked, we're over 200 on Twitter, so thank you all. We are 10 members away from being able to reach the 500 number on Instagram. And I think we're like between 10 and 15 on Facebook. So if you're not already following us on all of those, please go out and follow us on those. Jonathan says the man needs to sleep. Yes, I do. I appreciate that. Ross Norris says he might be able to create some spots. Lord, if we get past Delta this year, it would just be... I'd be very humbled if we did. I can't even imagine us branching off into Dynasty and being able to pull that many leagues in 1 year. Just super, super humbling. Ross, if you made it happen, man, I would be willing to look beyond Delta and consider Echo and Foxtrot. Just saying. Just putting a nugget out there for everybody right now. Ross there, you got his email for Jonathan Broughton. I know Jonathan would be great in your system. It's just super, super fun. Randy already plays in it, Jonathan, and I know you guys are close, so ask Randy about it. Great system. Like, I've never played anything like his. Super, super great system. So our next broadcast, we anticipate the Charlie draft being done by then, right? Because they're in round 12 right now, and MJ could probably tell us how much further they are ahead than Alpha and Bravo was at this moment. So we will still be doing a broadcast next Wednesday, especially if we are bringing Delta along. We'll let you know what's going on with Charlie. We'll let you know what's going on with Delta at that time. So make sure you're back here on 27 May, which will be episode 13 of the 2020 season. And then before we go off, I don't think Justin Clyburn's on with us tonight, but I wanted to make sure that I made a special plug for him. I will message it out on GroupMe tonight or tomorrow and let Justin know that we gave a plug for him. So Justin is this great commissioner. Ross is on with us tonight. Three of the greatest leagues that I can think of in my mind right now. FSA, of course, me being selfish. The NCFF and FCS combo with Ross Norris. And then Justin Clyburn runs a league called the Oil. And I can't ever say Okla Iraqi League because it's so odd to say Okla Iraqi League. But he's been running this great league for what's coming, or this year will be his 15th year. He also plays with us in FSA in both the Redraft League as the Underdogs and the Dynasty League as the Scottish Claymores, which is in Charlie right now. And when I said that they were going to start their 15th year, Justin is also a military guy, and he wanted to do a challenge coin like we do a lot in the military. And with this being their 15th year of operation, I got lucky enough and blessed enough for him to be able to send me an oil coin for the 15th year of operation. I'm very humbled, and I want to say thank you to Justin for that. I've had it for, I think, 1 or 2 shows now, and I forgot to bring it out. I will send him a message and say thank you for that. Make sure he goes back and watch this. So, Justin, thank you very, very much. I would say I would push you over to Justin's way to see if you can't fill in some of the spots on his league, but he runs 3 leagues that are 14 teams and has been doing it for quite a few years, and it's a lot of all of the members that he was deployed with while he was part of the Oklahoma National Guard. Justin, if I'm wrong, please correct me on that. And it's just a really great league. It's a time for them over Labor Day weekend to all get together and kind of unwind and do a little bit of a reunion from all of the deployment years and do their draft together and stuff like that. And even though I have asked to be in it, I understand the camaraderie and the brotherhood that they have there with those guys. And just an awesome, awesome league. Whether you can get into it or not, reach out to Justin and ask him, hey, how can I get more information on the Oil League? I'd just like to see what it's all about and go out and look at that. Super awesome. That's it, y'all. We got to get out of here. It's 50 minutes. Holy crap. This was supposed to be a 5-minute show tonight. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Finger Lakes Mercantile. Brandon, you're awesome. I know I owe you some videos out there. Thank you for being patient with me. Nature Coast Tailgating, our world champion, bowl sponsor this year. They're going to be giving out the custom cornhole and bags for this year. I couldn't thank him enough for that. Southern Siren Sugar Scrum. MJ, I hope you're still out there listening. Thank you for everything that you do for us. Football Darts, our broadcast sponsor, Jonathan Davies. Jonathan, thank you very much. Deep South Creations, another brand that's in our group with us. Awesome stuff that's out there. He's going to be a bowl sponsor this year. We just got to figure out where that's going to work into everything. And then, of course, the Recast, our official music of FSA, Armando and the guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Him and his wife are playing in the Charlie League right now in the Dynasty. They will both be playing in the Redraft League as well. I can't think of them enough. If you liked the show tonight, make sure you go out and like us, subscribe to us, share us. It's going to look something like this. When you get out there, do it on Facebook, do it on Instagram, do it on Twitter, do it on YouTube. Please do it everywhere. And we will see you next week on the 27th. And we'll discuss some Charlie and some Delta 2020 stuff. Y'all have a great night.